As the war in Gaza stretches into a 7th month, Israelis and Palestinians are marking an important date 76 years ago with very different perspectives. This memorial marking 76 years since the State of Israel was created in the wake of the Holocaust. And this rally in the West Bank today held in honor of the hundreds of thousands of people living there at the time who fled or were driven from their homes.
And we wanted to get more insight on the importance of the events of 1948. And joining us live now is Professor Lonny Brooks from Cal State East Bay. And Professor, can you tell us a little bit about how those years after World War II led to the State of Israel?
Well, yes. I mean, there was the official British mandate for dividing Palestine between Jewish and Arab states. And at that moment, many the Arab states did not want to have a Jewish state present. So that was part of the issue. And once the mandate was declared over, the British kind of abandoned the mandate. The Jewish people at the time had to defend themselves too against an immediate declaration of war by the Arab states against the Jewish folks and people at the time with the declaration of the State of Israel. So, but, you know, we can understand it more as a civil war that happened between the Jewish and Arab populations at the time, with bloody reprisals among them both. There is the story of the Nakba, the Dar Yassin massacre that occurred at that moment in April of 1948, where, you know, innocent civilians were killed. At the same time, there was another massacre called Kfar Etzion in May, where also innocent Jewish civilians were killed. That Dar Yassin massacre did motivate hundreds of thousands of Arab Palestinians at the time to flee from their homes. So it's important to acknowledge both narratives, that the Jewish people at the time, you know, had just undergone the worst Holocaust that we have experienced in recent times, of 6 million Jews killed by the Nazi Germany regime in World War II. So the aftermath of that gave rise to this, you know, this yearning for a Jewish home where folks could find refuge that is ancestrally indigenous to the Jewish people. That is the core element of Zionism. But Zionism at the time, you know, also has other branches too. So, you know, the religious Zionism of a greater Israel is what most people associate with Zionism these days when we think of the treatment of the Arabs in the West Bank and the proliferation of settlements under the Israeli government. So, you know, in occupied Arab territory known as the West Bank. So these narratives, you know, do compete with each other. But, you know, both of them have their own viewpoints and their assertions of important historical narratives that are important to both peoples that we need to acknowledge and embrace and understand and work through and negotiate and debate.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex issue. But how do you think what happened all those years ago is now influencing what is happening today?
Well, you know, in the 1990s, there was the Oslo Accords that tried to achieve an autonomous Palestinian state. And we were, you know, we're close, but, you know, at the same time, Yasser Arafat walked away from that. And one of the prime promoters of that one of the Israeli prime ministers, Yitzhak Rabin, was assassinated. So it really led to the downfall of those accords, while giving some autonomy to and creating the Palestinian Authority. But how it influences today is that, you know, the impatience of the Palestinian peoples, of course, is understandable. And so it gave rise to being more militant, to wanting an immediate state with full sovereign rights. And so that influences the way that we see today's violence, and not to excuse it at all, but it led to a more radicalized Islamic fundamentalist regime that we have seen with Hamas. It also led to a civil war between the Palestinian Authority through the PLO and Hamas itself. So, and on the Israeli side, there's deep discord among how Israelis and specifically the families of Israeli hostages are at odds with the Israeli government and their handling of the war, because they see Prime Minister Netanyahu trying to hold the power and not trying to address and fight for a ceasefire in the name of securing his power rather than getting the hostages back. So it's really complex. Yeah. And I think we need to acknowledge both narratives, and that Israeli society is not entirely united about how the war has been prosecuted and the thousands of deaths that have occurred, on both sides, and the disproportionate violence that Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have faced. So, it's a complex issue. Yeah. I grew up.
Yeah, Professor, we have to get going, run out of time, but as I do agree, it's a very complex relationship that started 8 decades ago. So thank you for giving us some insight. So Professor Lonny Brooks from Cal State East Bay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.